That's a great start.
Give it a heads up. Holy smokes.
Started doing this little clap thing for sound connection. Connect the video to sound. Kind of like where this is going with that.
Oh, goodness.
So, do you feel like your life is complete now?
Do you hear the... Oh, it's the rain. Do I feel like my life is complete now?
Yes. Now that you have a Florida driver's license.
It was stupidly... Like, it got me, not, like, emotional.
Oh,
but, it's, like,
my
it wasn't
God.
emotional. It was, like, that little... Because, like I said, like, that was the last piece that I had of... I have nothing. Like, California was, like, that was the last license that I had.
We have a license
Was
plate.
California. But, like, a working thing. So that was just a little weird. I was like, oh, it's official. Like, I will never go back to that place.
I love how like a driver's license is what you. It's like I don't have a driver's license anymore. Can never go back.
It's like those stupid little reminders, I guess. Because when I was originally going to get my license renewed, which is why I was going to have to get mine done anyways, just because of like timing, like I had to get mine redone. The plan was I was going to get it redone in California, and it would be like, oh, it would be fine because like I got it in California, and then I would just renew it in California. But
yeah,
we're staying. So
Florida. We both talked about how like the license looks like old school.
Yeah,
It's just like the color and the font of it looks like. It honestly looks like you always hear like a Florida man type thing.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like that is a license that pops up. It just looks like kind of grungy and weird and
you should just take out the
and-
information and just. You should just take out the information and just like put the picture in the video.
They look so weird. I mean, just look up a Florida license. Like,
Yeah.
We could probably put a picture of it. I don't want to put my license on the podcast.
What's it saying? Like you blur out all the information. You just do the
yeah,
picture.
But still, I don't need to.
That was crazy seeing your old license, your high school license compared to now. Like license are one of those tricky things because it's so much time in between.
Yeah.
Like just to see the aging, it's weird.
Yep. Well, and you can definitely tell with the aging and stuff. But I mean, I've had a Wisconsin license, a California license, a Texas license, and now a Florida, and they all do them differently. So they all just look different and weird, and like the way
Texas,
they take pictures.
They do it like a mugshot.
Yeah, Texas like a black and white mugshot. It almost looks like it's a sketch, like somebody drew you, like a whatever. Yeah, it's like black and white. It's like not detailed at all. The Wisconsin one is actually, it's black and white, but it's super detailed in a way. Towards like the Texas one looked like somebody drew me. And
then these Florida ones, it's like they're trying to make you bronze.
Oh yeah,
like they put a bronze filter on you. I swear.
Yeah, everybody is tan. It's like I am not as tan as that photo.
They're just gonna make you look like the most bright and vibrant and glowy. Just like, man, I must be so happy here.
Yep.
Keeps you in the loop.
Yeah, and the lighting on it is so horrible. Just the ones that do like color for the photo. It's like, you guys don't know the first thing about lighting, do you? It's like step back and go against this white wall. It's like, I'm like, can I get an overhead light? This is crazy. It's like everybody has bags under their eyes in their photo because there's just no lighting.
Oh yeah. Can I just like pop a ring light on me and then you take the picture? I'm just like having my flash on my phone right by my face.
Well, and I took the first photo and she's like, oh, we're gonna have to take it again without the glasses because it's leaving a glare. I'm like, oh my God, this is crazy. Like, so I take my glasses off and literally everywhere I go, I have glasses. And every time I go through the airport, they're like, it's like,
you should just take your glasses off.
I have glasses. It's like, I'm not in a disguise.
Well, I think that's even crazier because your last license that you have, you look nothing like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, it's a little meth addict looking.
Yeah, I was on a lot of meth then. So
compared to now. Now you just look like youthful and healthy and glowy in this next picture. It's like compared, I could see where they're like, what?
Yeah.
You've really done a little glow up.
Done a good job. Staying my license back. Good for you. You know what else I wanted to bring up?
What?
We have gone 1 week and our Spotify character has not revealed themselves.
Interesting.
And you know what? Hey.
Did you look? Did they listen to the last episode?
I didn't. I should have.
Because that makes all of the difference.
I also should have looked because who knows? Maybe we have like 5 listeners on Spotify now.
That would be the fucked situation.
Because after we talked about it so much, maybe people didn't even know we were on Spotify and they switched over.
Well, but if you started listening last week, it's not you. So you know it's not you. Let's look up.
So no shenanigans.
Okay, Spotify. Let's get to the...
I wonder how many weeks running we can go without them revealing themselves.
How the heck do I get to this?
I'm just putting that out there. Type in podcast. Well, you might not be able to on your...
I always could on here. Oh, no, I couldn't.
Not the same laptop.
Damn it.
New laptop lady.
Oh, I want to know so bad.
How do you like your new laptop compared to the old one?
It's so the same.
You know, I know it's...
Apple, it just like makes it so...
Well, yeah, it's the same thing. Yeah. But you have the Touch ID to unlock now.
Yeah, that's kind of cool. I like the...
I know. Isn't it like... It's just not a big deal. Remember when it used to be on the phone? It wasn't Face ID?
Ooh.
It was the thumbprint on the phone?
Yeah.
I wonder if you could do Face ID on that. Why couldn't it be Face ID on that?
Well, I'm happy it's
Isn't
not.
it weird how quickly we just transition into the next thing and we totally forget about...
Yeah.
It's like you used to have to type in a passcode if you wanted one on there, or... And then we go to the thumbprint and everybody gets used to it, and then it's Face ID, and now it's...
I feel like the Apple stuff, it tricks you because like they just make their graphics like a little bit crisper, and the apps just look a little bit cleaner, like a different design, or the wallpaper that they'll have on will just be a little bit something different that they make you think it's like this brand new exciting thing, but it's not. It's just the same product.
It's just show. Well, that's what ends up happening is like it's just the visual graphics that are like a little bit clearer now. You know, it's like you go from 360p to now 1080p, and then you go to 4K. It's like it's the same thing, just it looks a little bit more detailed or a little bit crisper. Otherwise, like you said, everything else is the same.
Yeah, I can't look because I don't want to click on the episode to see if it shows viewers, because then I'm going to count as one. When you're editing this, let's look up if that one person watched by the recording.
I could probably like
this.
screenshot the views or plays.
Yes.
But I think when I uploaded the last one, I had seen like the last couple episodes actually had like 2 plays, 3
Son
plays.
of a bitch.
So.
Well, it's easy to find.
How you're pissed that our podcast is growing.
If you have been using Spotify to watch for the last how many months or how many, like for a while, it's still you. So I still need to know. It still needs to be revealed.
I just love how much we're harping on this.
It's just too, it's like I said last time, it's just too easy of a situation to take advantage of to not take advantage of it.
Yeah. I don't see that, but that's cool.
Okay.
I'm happy for you.
Do we want to tell who we think it is? Because we both have an idea of who we think it is.
No.
Okay.
I don't.
Okay.
Because
what
if the person we think it is doesn't want to be outed?
Good point. Good point.
They might get hate mail.
Good point.
You listen on Spotify, you loser.
If they reveal themselves and they don't want to be outed, I will just say it was who we thought it was.
Have you ever seen that head coaching clip of the guy at the press conference after the game just like saying they are who we thought they were after they lost? It's so funny. I think if I remember right, it's His name's Herm Edwards, and he was coaching the Jets, and they lost. I don't even remember to who, but he gets asked some question. He's just like yelling into the mic. They are who we thought they were. They are who we thought they were. It's like, okay.
Sorry.
There's another one too. I don't remember who this coach was, but somebody asked something, and he just is like, you play to win the game. And he just keeps repeating that over and over again. It's so funny when coaches get so in their like pissy, bratty moments where they say something, and for some reason, I feel like it happens to people all the time. It clicks in your head of just like, this is cool or this is good. And you just keep repeating the same thing.
Well, what was the
everybody else around you is like, what? You're being so weird about this.
What was the Belichick one? Is it Cincinnati?
Yeah, we're on to Cincinnati.
Cincinnati. Cincinnati.
They keep trying to ask him questions, and he just keeps looking at Cincinnati. Cincinnati. It's so funny when they get bratty.
Okay, so I want to do a podcast shout out, but it leads into my next story. Actually, this might have been my last podcast shout out.
Bill Belichick?
No. Did I shout out Bussin' with the Boys last time?
I don't think so. I don't know.
Well, Bussin' with the Boys is my podcast shout out today, but it's more so their vlogs. I love their under the hood vlogs, but they go to different like colleges and tour the stadium and their locker room and all that stuff in their campus. What school was it where they had in their media room where their seats, they purposely made them slant so you would slide out of the seat so that the media team like wouldn't get too comfortable and want to stay?
Yeah, University of Oregon.
So cool.
The Oregon Ducks. Yeah, the guy giving the tour was like, go ahead, like sit in the media chairs. And he's like, they're kind of uncomfortable, right? And they're both like, yeah. He's like, yeah, they're meant to be uncomfortable so that the media won't hang around, so that they get them, like try to get them to leave.
That's so awesome.
And I think it was Will was like, yeah, I sat down and was like, oh, it's like a weird like posture thing, trying to like help posture. And he's like, but I just feel like I keep sliding out. He's like, yeah, that's the point. So you're just like sliding out of the chair so you get uncomfortable, so you leave.
Yeah, that would be my shout out. I've been really liking them lately.
Yeah, they're fun. Their whole point was like to try to bring the locker room to everybody, which I think is so cool. Like, I don't know, just you see players do press conferences, and it's always the same mantras and same things. Oh, we got to work hard to do all this stuff or whatever. And I don't know, I feel like as a sports fan, you're always wondering, like, I wonder what the locker rooms are like. And that's what their whole goal was with their podcast and everything, was just like try to bring that feel to everybody that does wonder about it or does want to know about it. Well,
and even like you don't even if you're not wondering about it, but that is what is intriguing about sports and athletes, I think, is getting to know the actual like brain behind that. Mm-hmm. That most sports media is either, like you said, them doing these interviews where it's copy paste. They're learning in high school how you handle these interviews. It's like, it's the same beats. You say the same thing, and then you say, go whatever team you're on. Or like, whatever.
Yeah.
That I think getting these people on the podcast too, or the other version of that is a bunch of announcers, or they're just like media team guys, or it's like fantasy football type of conversations where it's like, this is just a bunch of people that have never played, that just kind of know the game, or they're talking about it from such a business analytical standpoint. This is just more almost like day-to-day knowledge of how they are, how they think, how they handle life situations, and you can just see the athlete bleed into. That's why I also like the vlogs. So I'm like, you're just going to the airport and you're doing that, but it's such in an athlete way.
Yeah.
And the way that they talk is such in an athlete way.
I think that's where, like, I like Pat McAfee's show too, but he toes the line more of like doing the traditional media and like asking the right questions and asking these certain questions of whatever guests they have on, or like talking about things in a certain way, to where Bussin' with the Boys is like, they don't toe the line at all. Like, they are just, we're going to say whatever we want to say and talk about this situation however we want to talk about it. And there's the refreshing part of that, but it's also cool just you get to hear athletes talk how they talk.
Yeah.
Rather than like, because even the people that go on Pat McAfee, it's like you're on a big media thing. Like it's also live. I wonder if there's something to do with it being live, but you know, they zoom in or they'll be in studio and they're just the way that they ask the questions and how they have to talk about the team and talk about this, talk about that. It's different. You also see when players retire, they're much more open because they don't have the scaredness, I guess, of maybe getting let go or something because of off-field actions type of thing or talking in the media a certain way. But with Bussin' with the Boys, it's like it's just so it's so what you would want it to be. Like, it's a podcast where they just like talk about football, but they've played for 10 years almost, and they talk about the locker room, they talk about the games, they talk about like stories of coaches and players and people doing stuff, and it's just so I hate saying this, but it's like it's the most raw version of it.
Yeah.
To where Pat
like
McAfee
this would be just like talking to your friends, which I guess like you said, like the locker room thing. Like they'll talk about football because that's just what they love to talk about. It's not because that's the agenda of the show or their platform. It's like that is just genuinely what they love to shoot the shit on.
Well, and the Will's gender reveal of the baby baby video is so funny. He has a daughter and he's been talking up this whole time about how he wants a son, what he's gonna do with the son and all this kind of stuff, and then they do a gender reveal video and it comes out to be a girl. It's just he couldn't hide it in his face that he's disappointed, and the way that they just kept bringing that up on their show and just like
well, and then Will talking about it like there's this pressure now, like what if we don't have one? And it's like, and then you become like the girl dad where you're surrounded by only girls. And he's like, and you see these men, like they start to transform and change into something else because like they're just around female energy all the time and doing female activities. And like, they're just in the corner and you never really hear about that guy anymore.
Yeah,
and you never really hear about
in the corner, never
what
talks.
They're interested in and whatever. And Taylor's just like, you're freaking me out.
Yeah.
Stop
He's
talking.
like, we got to have each other.
Yeah.
It's great. They're awesome.
Yeah, that would be if you want to add to your entertainment of the week, that would be one that I would add.
Yeah. Because they're in somehow like they're entertaining without it being football all the time.
Oh yeah.
It's mostly about football or sports, but the way they do it is entertaining. So it almost doesn't matter what the topic is.
Yeah. Yeah, they're very charismatic.
Yeah, totally.
And together, and their whole group together really feeds off each other well.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was watching the Wife of the Party interview with his wife. I still have to show you where she's talking about that, of how when Taylor was going through that, one of his injuries, and just like, how do you deal with that as a family, and like, what does the dynamic look like of, you know, kind of having to deal with that in such a large scope too, when it's affecting your livelihood and how he is, like his identity, which is football. And she was like, well, he just like he always like makes things fun, like he created an alter ego for it. And like, I was just like, what?
For an injury creates an alter ego.
And she was like, he had like 3 different versions where like one would just be sad, where he would just like kind of mope around. One would be like he would kind of get, and he's like, and that one had a British accent. The other one was like a weird, like he got really philosophical about things and whatever. And she was like, and each version had a different hairstyle. So like he would part his hair different and start talking different.
Oh, that's hilarious.
But yeah, we're good.
Yeah. All right.
Let's get into it.
See ya.
15-minute episode.
Yeah.
Could you imagine? There are some people that only do like half hours. I would have to get in and get out.
We're such slow starters. We can't get to the good stuff. We can't start rolling until 30 minutes.
Yeah. That's what we should start telling people. It's like, this is when we really get into it. So if you don't want to listen to this stuff at the beginning, fast forward to 20 minutes in.
Yeah, that would be funny. At the beginning of each podcast, like, so the first like 25 of this is boring. Just skip to 25 mark.
But we would have to know.
Hey.
Well, you could do that.
It's so much work, you know?
So much work. I'll say once you feel like we're getting, just like look at the time, then just record us saying, okay, so we're getting into it now.
Yeah. All right.
So topic for today, we're going to put the pressure back on us and take it off of you guys. I feel like a lot of the times that we talk, we're talking about how to like give advice or talk through things that we see a lot of people struggle with and want to try to help you guys. That now we're going to turn it back on us and just kind of talk about where we have made mistakes. Are we just going to do with fitness, or are we doing health and fitness?
I kind of want to do, two separate. Like,
okay.
I'd like to do, just in the exercise realm,
okay.
or just the nutrition realm, that sort of thing.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't know. We could just see where it goes too.
Because some of mine are kind of correlated, like they affect each other.
Yeah.
But
maybe we just do it all then.
Okay. But we're going to talk about mistakes that we have made over the years that we've either adjusted or became more privy to. Science has evolved and now we have learned more, or just us being silly and dumb.
Yeah. I mean, silly and stubborn with stuff too. You get so into like you kind of don't take the facts and you take the ideology of it more.
Sure.
And I think that's maybe the biggest mistake that I make with all of this stuff is just, it's like the identity thing. Like you almost want the identity of, I'm a carnivore diet person, or I'm a weightlifting person and a split routine person, and I'm a kettlebell person. Like you just get so ingrained in that world, and it's like, it's exciting and it's fun, but you don't need to take on the whole identity of it, because then you start to be blind to the negatives of whatever it is. Because I think that's probably the biggest thing with any of that stuff is, unfortunately, you're going to be missing out on something if you're so into one thing. With being really into kettlebells right now, it's like, what things are we missing? Probably maximal strength stuff. We're not lifting anything over 55
what we can
pounds.
Hold in our hands.
Right. So like, we're not putting 225 pounds on the bench press. We're not putting, same thing, 225 on a squat rack and lifting it. We're kind of missing out on that maximum strength portion, to where you're missing out on something with everything you do. Diet, exercise, whatever it is. So that whole, the ideology piece of it gets real funky, because you just get so attached to it, and then you just go like, there's nothing wrong with this ever. And then all of a sudden you're like, why am I bloated all the time? Or why am I, getting injured a lot? Or why am I tired consistently or always? It's like, well, you kind of got to look at what you're doing and what's wrong. I mean, we were talking about that the other day with me, of like, I used to just wake up in the middle of the night and just like be awake, and I couldn't fall back asleep. So I just like get up and start doing stuff. Like my sleep patterns were so crap, and I was so ingrained into like the bodybuilding, like let's get really big, and then like the bulk, and then cut and maintain, and like let's try to grow our legs more this 3 weeks or 6 weeks, and then let's try to get our chest bigger for this, doing all of that along with going to school and sports and stuff like that. So like, to try to really push it, I would be taking pre-workout at any time of the day. So like, one day I'm taking it at 6 p.m. The next day I'm taking it at 3 p.m. The next day there would be days where, like, say it's a Friday, we're done with school, I'm taking pre-workout at 3 o'clock, 3:30. Saturday morning I'd get up and work out. So then at 8, 9 o'clock in the morning, I'm taking pre-workout again. And then if I went a second time that day, I'd probably take another half scoop at 3 or 6 o'clock or whatever. I was kind of in that, like, if anybody said they wanted to go work out, I was going to go.
Mm-hmm.
But I was I need pre-workout to work out and do this. So, like, I'm taking caffeine just the most random times and always, like.
And always the synthetic version of it. Not synthetic, but like the hyper
processed
probably version
synthetic
of it.
Yeah. So it's like, no wonder your sleep patterns were jacked up, but I was so like, I need to get a really good workout in, or I need to, like, I'm working out for the second time today, so I need that extra boost. And you just, like, you go blind to it. You go blind to silly things like that. It's like, oh, I can't figure out why I just wake up. You just go like, I don't know. It's just what I do. It's like, that is not a reason. Like, that's not a good enough excuse or justification. Yeah, it's just what it is. It's like, no, figure it out.
Right.
And stop doing it. To where all my sleep was so jacked up for so long with that. But I mean, and with those things, I always go like, okay, what if I was able to keep that same intensity but not have the sleep disruption of the because of the caffeine issues? It's like, oh, like all of the things that I was wanting at that time of just like gain more weight, be bigger, be stronger, be more cut. It's like, that probably would have been way better if I would have had my sleep figured out, which would be not taking caffeine at all hours of the day. Well, and there's the other thing. When my brother Corey was on second shift, he would get done at midnight or get back home at midnight, and I would like stay up and then go work out with him at midnight, take pre-workout, go work out,
and then go to school the next day.
Yeah, go back home at 1:30, go to sleep, wake up at 7, and go to school. It's like
pre-workout still rushing through your veins the entire night's sleep.
Stupidest thing ever. There's a positive to that of like how much time was I able to spend with him working out, and how much benefit of just like toughing it through, like that whole AMCC we were talking about yesterday, the part of the brain, the microsucks and everything. It's like there's probably some benefit to that, but
oh yeah, you probably would have been better off not taking pre-workout, like going to practice, coming home, sleeping until midnight, get up and go work out with him. Then maybe sleep a little bit.
I mean, that screws up your circadian rhythm so much though.
I don't know. But you're still getting more hours of sleep. Like you probably were getting 5 hours.
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah. Which I guess, and especially for a teenager, like that is so not optimal.
No.
But
especially with how much I was doing and trying to do, like, and all my focus was on sports, athletics, weightlifting, all that kind of stuff. I mean, school was 10th on the list of what I cared about. So that was obviously not doing great. I was doing as little as I possibly could do to pass.
Yeah, that's one thing I think is just a general theme in a lot of where I made mistakes. It's that tricky balance because I also love this about myself, but it's that weird, I'm going to push it to the limit no matter what, even though the result that I'm wanting to get would probably come easier if I had those things a little bit more dialed in.
Yeah.
Like, because it's like I would eat whatever. I would sleep for however little amount of time that I had available to me. I would push my body to the limit. I would add extra activity in. I would I was the most active then as I ever was. And then like for lunch, I'd be like, I could only have a tiny little bowl of salad.
Yeah,
it's like
totally.
You're not feeling your body at all. And then I would get so hungry that I would binge on fast food and shitty food for dinner. It's like, that's just what I was eating. Like a tiny salad for lunch and then shit fast food for dinner. And it's like, and I was dancing 4 or 5 hours a night, 5 days a week. Also when I had time, like working out as well. And I'm having 2 pieces of lettuce and Taco Bell.
Yeah, which and in a weird way, I don't know if you did this, but I think it could be common that people do this because I I kind of did that same. I did the same thing, but in a different way. But I feel like with that, you're going like, yeah, but I like had a healthy salad and like majority of the time I'm eating well. I had a healthy salad and maybe I had a healthy breakfast. It's just the fast food at night wasn't great. But then you start to go like, well, maybe I'll try to choose better fast food options and and it's not even so much like it really is just like you're kind of just wrong about the things you're choosing to eat. It's like the fast food might have been more beneficial to you than the
salad.
It's like it's actually giving you calories and giving you something and probably some protein to where your salads didn't have any of it. The salads have so like great, you're getting good fiber and some micronutrients, but like
I'm getting 2 pieces of lettuce doused in French dressing. That's what I was eating.
Yeah, like that's not helping. Honestly, with how much output you were doing, the most beneficial part of that was probably the sugar in the
dressing.
in the dressing. But it's like that's so not optimal. That's like barely survival.
Yeah, but I took that as
I'm eating a salad.
Not even that. I took that as this will make me feel hungry. Like this is the sacrifice I'm taking because like I want to eat bad food or like filling food all day. But it's like, but I know I'm only going to eat this fast food at night because that's just what I'm doing. That if I can have a salad during the day, yes, it's that like, well, this is the healthier option because I'm going to eat shittier later. But it's that I'm putting a sacrifice of eating the salad. Like I'm thinking it's this mindset thing. Of like, I'm choosing something. And there was also a part of me, especially back then, and I still can trip back into that so fast, of like this is good. Like the intensity of this and the push your body to the point where it's unhealthy is healthy.
Yeah, and that's what's tough is like, there's part of me that wants to go, it's cool that you learned that lesson, and I feel like I learned that too, of like almost like what are you capable of.
Yeah,
but the more as time goes on, the more I lean into like, well, just do it right from the beginning. Like we don't have to do that. If you just do it right all the time, you never have to do the what am I capable of thing.
well, yeah, it's like I'm putting the struggle on myself.
Yeah,
I'm getting myself sick and then going power through being sick. It's like, well, you got yourself sick. Like you're just going to keep doing this.
And is it worth it when your performance is not as good as it could be? You know,
yeah,
it's like,
there's that weird messed up mindset of like, I can't even take the chance to figure out if me dialing back or me putting more time into sleep, putting more time into food or doing that would make my performance better, because there's a potential that in that time that I'm figuring that out, my performance goes down. Which
this is such a good learning lesson in general, because there's probably so many people there's so many people that deal with that of, I don't want to change this thing up because I'm so terrified of if I dial things back a little bit, or if I change what I'm doing, all of the progress I just made could not work. Or especially at that time in your life, you feel like time is it's running out of like how much time I have to be able to do this. You know, like say it's high school football. It's like, I only have 4 years if I can make varsity and freshman, 3 years if I can make varsity as a sophomore, like 2 years basically. I can't take any chances because there's so little time to do it. So you're just trying to fit as much production and performance and effort in at this littlest time as possible. But this is where you have to just trust and look at the studies and the research and the statistics. You get so caught up into your own feelings of what you feel like is the right thing, but there's so much research to show what is the right thing and to do that. It's like you want to talk about weight loss, calories in versus calories out. it doesn't matter if you're high carb, high fat. Pretty much the only thing that needs to stay consistent is protein, because you don't want to have all that muscle. We always forget this word. Muscle atrophy, yeah, or the other one, the D word. I don't remember what it is.
Deterioration.
Yes. But it's like the research shows it doesn't really matter the carbs or the fat, which one's low, which one to keep low. So we get so caught up in the idea of it needs to be carbs. It needs to be carbs that stay low. Although what works in your lifestyle might be better to have it be the fats that stay low, and then reducing calories that way. So it's like we get so caught up in the idea of the thing and want to stick with that. It's like, I need to be working out 6 days a week. I need to be low carb. I need to be, at the gym 24/7, or whatever your things are. Just like what we were doing of, I got to work out as much as I can. If somebody asks me, I'm going. It's like, that's kind of a rule, a soft rule I had, was like, it's always going to be better if you go and do it. So if somebody asks, go do it. Because if I worked out once today, a second one's going to be better. And it's like, that just shows how inefficient you are.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you think that a second workout is going to be better just because it's more volume. It's like, that's not always the case. And then what I was going to say earlier was like, I felt like I was kind of doing the same thing you were with the food, but in the reverse end. I was going,
any calorie is a calorie.
Any calories is great. I need to refuel, because like, I'm working out or I'm putting so much output. I need to put as much into my body as possible. And it's like, again, the inefficiency of that. You're not caring at all about the quality of going in. Like,
you did the classic, what I think a lot of people get mixed up with, like, the whole idea of a bulk. It's like, just will eat anything. It's like, it's like, you're running and you're running forward, but like, you have a parachute behind you. It's like, you're kind of doing the work, and you're putting in so much effort to run forward and so much effort to do these workouts. But like, the way that you're fueling that is like, you're just going to put on more fat, and then you're going to have to do it again. And you're going to have to, honestly, like, you're going to have to cycle off even harder than what you would have.
Yep. The inefficiency. Well, and even the stuff that I was doing in high school for workouts for football was counterintuitive to what I should have been doing.
Yeah.
And the way, what I had in my mind too was like, the workouts that our coaches were putting on were not as effective as the ones that I was doing at the gym. And truthfully, they probably worked well together, but there was just too much output that I was doing. But I think it would have been more beneficial to be doing stuff like kettlebells and doing functional work with weights and stuff. I mean, the whole sport is you're moving around, pushing people, tackling people, running. And like, I'm going into the gym and doing bodybuilding splits. I'm doing a chest day, a back day, a leg day. It's like, that doesn't coincide with what the goal is and what I should be doing. So I think there's just that, I keep going back to it, but it's just like attaching to the ideology rather than the research of it. And I think that's something that I've switched more to now, is like, but what does the actual data say?
Yeah, well, and that's where I wish I could have been just a little bit more in tune with that information. Well, I shouldn't say that. I didn't know that information, but there's a little bit of common sense there. I maybe didn't have that. Then I definitely didn't have the knowledge that I have now about eating and exercise and like how to maintain a healthy body. I was just push it to the limit was my only protocol.
Well, and that's the dance world. It's volume.
Yeah.
You know, it's like a competition of like, how many hours a night do you go to dance, and how many days a week? Mm-hmm. It's like, well, I go 5 hours, 4 days a week. It's like, well, I go 6 hours. Mm-hmm. And there's this weird thing of, it's the same thing I was doing. Like, you think that more is better when really that just becomes less and less efficient.
Yeah.
You're getting away from the efficiency.
That's where I would like, okay, you already have the skill set of, I'm going to do whatever is required of me. Like, I'm going to push it to the limit. Like, kind of how I would see if my kids were in the same scenario, how would I want to help them do it a little bit better than I did? Because I don't want them to, like, not have the ability to go for it and be as crazy. If you want to do something like that and you want to make this your thing, you need a team to do that. So maybe that's still, I was going to be my only team, but still I could, like, my parents would have still supported me in this way of, you know what? I want to start eating better and cleaner. I get that you're not going to make me food at night and bring it to me and deliver it to me and then drive me to dance with this pre-made meal because you've been working all day. So can we set something up so that we have groceries in the house so that every Sunday or every Saturday was the day that I had afternoons off. Saturday, I'm going to meal prep for the week.
Yeah.
Or I need to figure out what workouts are going to be as beneficial. I mean, that I would just needed strength. So honestly, probably what I was doing was totally fine. But it was definitely the eating. What could I have it adjusted? That I couldn't necessarily adjust the sleep. That's just what my schedule was. I was dancing far away. I danced till late at night and I was getting up early for school. Like, couldn't have avoided that. Working out, I think I was doing an appropriate amount and what I thought would be a good combination of things. It was just the food that was just so out of freaking whack that I could have been more smart with that. And because I was so all in, I feel like I would have put the effort into, like, almost like you're going to put the effort in, put it in the correct areas because you don't have a problem with trying and like making this your whole life.
Yeah.
I just should have directed it a little bit differently.
Well, and I think that's definitely where what would have been helpful, I think, for both of us is more guidance or the right guidance in those areas. And we probably had, I don't know if you had people that would have, because again, that dance world is just so, no, you're here for 5 hours and we're doing this for this long. Like, that's how you're going to get better. There's the one studio in Chicago that seems like they have the efficiency thing figured out.
Yes.
Otherwise, every single...
And they don't have that background, which is probably why.
And they don't have what?
And like, they don't come from that competitive dance world background, which is probably why.
But it's like every person I've met in the dance world, every story I've heard, it's all the same theme of just how much can you do it, how much volume, push. And there's such a lack of how do we make this the most efficient? I think people think they make it efficient, but it's like you have to put in the 5 hours a night with the efficiency. And it's like, do anything for 5 hours. It's now no longer efficient anymore. Mm-hmm. Like, there's only a certain amount of time where you can have that efficiency. And then it's all dependent on like the programming and like how much effort you're putting in. And, you know, are you able to scale this correctly of like, I'm fresh today, but now I'm sore the next day, and what to do with that. And the dance world just doesn't have any of that. Any of that. So I don't know where you have gotten the guidance for that. For me, like,
I wouldn't have.
I had a coach that extremely intelligent that I should have been going to of like, I'm willing to put in the extra and do whatever else. I already am, but I want to make sure it's the most efficient. So what should I be doing? I had too big of an ego to where I'm like, I've learned a couple things. I know what I'm doing, and I'm going to go do that. And it's like,
yeah, the advice
you got to take that away. You got to take the ego down.
The advice, and you would, even now, like, you ask anybody that's above in that industry, it's like, how do I want to get better? Just train more. Oh, you're taking 3 hours of ballet? Take 4. If I have another studio to train at,
that's such bad advice.
Can get how many classes here? Go to another studio so you can also take advantage of theirs.
Like, that's just, I mean, it's breaking that down. Like, that's not helpful at all.
The dance world, which is why I do want to do a separate episode on it. It's exactly what I should have been doing, or what we're kind of talking about. I think there's a theme with both of us of no one in decades and decades has paused and been like, is this the best protocol? Is this the best way we need to train kids? Is this the best way that we could be doing this and the most efficient and effective? Like, I think we just keep doing the same thing over and over again and making tiny little tweaks, but it's still in the same goddamn area. Like, you think of majority of highly competitive studios or like kids that what I was doing, like their schedule in the week, you have 3 hours of ballet, you have a jazz class, you have a technique class, you have a leaps and turns class. That's all one, that could be one class. Like, I'm in on this hour and a half, make it a little bit longer thing. But like, if you're doing a proper conditioning class, you're doing a proper style by style class, like you shouldn't need to have an hour and a half class just on turns. Do 20 minutes of that in your jazz class along with the foundation, along with the performance aspect. You're doing a combination, you're doing all the things. It's like, that should be one package, not an hour and a half of one thing. Like, that's not how our brains even work. But if anyone like, hey, let's look at this a little bit.
I don't want to be that person, but we gotta save it.
We gotta save it. We gotta save it.
I so badly want to just start running into it, but it's not what it's about today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think I wouldn't have known the difference. So like this where it's like mistakes and it's like, oh, but I wish I would have did this. Like, as a kid, I don't think I recognized where I was even struggling. Like, as an adult, I would go, I'm pretty tired 100% of the time.
Yeah.
Like, this just doesn't seem like the best life that I could be living. As a kid, I'm like, isn't everybody else exhausted all the time? And if you're not exhausted, you're not working hard enough. I'm working harder than you. Like, I saw that as a badge of honor.
Exactly. Yeah.
So.
And that's another thing where like these weird things of, same with me with the sleep and getting up. It's like, I've held that like a badge of honor.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, I can still have more output and do more shit than you and not sleep great. It's like, that's how cool I am. It's like, no, you're an idiot. That's what that is.
Yep.
You're taking pre-workout at 8 p.m. at night and you can't figure out why you can't sleep. You're dumb. That's what this is.
Yeah.
This isn't you're cool or you're good. Like, you shouldn't have a chip on your shoulder for that.
Yeah.
It's like, be in reality. Again, what's the data and the research versus your ideology? Your ideology is dumb. You think you're cool because, oh, I'm tired all the time. Like, that's not cool.
Yeah.
That's you not taking care of yourself and being annoying about it now. Like, you're acting like you're cool because of something so silly.
Like, I look at pictures of myself from back then, I'm like, bitch, you look terrible. Like, the bags, my hair was graying and falling out. It's like, this should be the most youthful time of your life, and you look like you are a mom of 7.
You're aging rapidly.
Yeah. It's like, this is not good. But like I said, I would just then use that knowledge if our kids want to be that extreme about stuff. Like, this is a full team effort here. Like, you want to just go and do sports and do that, like, that's fine. If you want to go crazy about it, like, we kind of have to dial all of these things in because it isn't effective or smart. That's when I just transferred that same mindset when I started just having, like, working out and lifting being my main source of things. When I was done, like, dancing as heavily as I was, I just took that same idea of, like, never miss a day. If you miss a day, you're going to lose out on all of the gains that you have. So, like, you better make it up. You better do it. If you miss a day, you got to go extra hard the next day. Not eating a lot. Like, if I have an injury, still working out through the, like, I remember, like, for 5 months, I had just, like, the biggest swollen knee because I could not stop doing straight leg deadlifts. And I just kept doing straight leg deadlifts because I was like, I can't not lose the hamstring and glute gains that I'm getting. Fuck the knee.
Yeah. Did your dad say when he would miss a workout, he would, like, make himself do 2 the next day or something, or like do both. Like he'd have to get both in.
I don't know.
I feel like I remember him saying that and then being like, and knowing what I know now, like this is so dumb.
Stupid.
Yeah. It sounds like the biggest mistakes for us was just like overdoing stuff so much.
Well, and overdoing it, I think the effort that we were putting in, I don't want to hate on. Like, I do like how intense we both were and still are, but we just put too much effort into one area. It's like we didn't diversify our training or what we were doing.
Well, and there was so much effort and intensity towards one direction. No,
that's
like
what I'm saying.
You, it was the dance, and then it's like I'm not gonna think about or care about food or sleep at all.
Yeah.
Like anything else. Like what's recovery? We stretch at the end of class. It's like,
well,
that was it.
Even that, no. We would just leave. So I am dancing for 4 hours, and then I go and sit in a car for 45 minutes.
Yeah.
And then I go, I'm injured all the time. I am pulling hip flexors. I hurt all the time. Like, there was no part of me that was like, maybe look into that.
Yeah.
I was just like, this is obviously just what happens.
Yeah.
Like, there was no trying to fix any of the negatives. I was just like, the negatives is just what you have to deal with.
And I think that is such a common thing.
Yeah.
Of just like, there's negatives and it's, well, this is just what comes with this. Or this is just how it's going to be. It's like, when you're injured all the time, or you're tired all the time, or you're trying to have some sort of progress in some direction, gain weight, lose weight, whatever it is. Like, I'm trying to run a 5K and I can't get past 2 miles without being extremely sore. It's like there's something going on that you're not paying attention to, and like this isn't how it's supposed to be. You have to adjust things, you have to change things. And that was just so much of the time for me was like, who cares about the sleep? Like, it's all about output and calories. Doesn't matter what kind of calories, just output and calories. And then to learn more and more about it, it's like, oh man, I could have been so much more efficient with what I'm doing. And to me, it just continues to go back to that, the ego and the ideology thing. Mm-hmm. The ego of, I'm so cool that I wake up in the middle of the night and can't sleep and I tough it out. I'm so cool that I can go do 3 workouts in a day and be able to like tell people that. So they're like, how many times you worked out? Oh, like this is my 3rd one. What? Oh my God. It's like just such an ego filling thing, but your progress is not really going anywhere. Nothing's really happening. It's because you're so attached to this, like, I gotta be this thing, or I gotta eat this way, or I like that it's a little bit tougher for me in this way. It's like, okay, but that's holding you back from your goals and what you want.
Yeah, I was such a kid. Like, I was in a kid stubborn brain. That to me is the theme of all of these nutrition and fitness mistakes, was that stubborn, like, oh, something's going wrong, I'm not going to question it. I just push through it.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's like something I just kind of continued that narrative. I think you're right. Like, that is promoted in the dance world. I think I also do like that about myself, but then there's no like, yeah, but this isn't cool. This is really stupid. And you're kind of going backwards from what you want. Like, you want to be doing this. These are the avenues that are going to help you get there. Like, when I broke my foot, we had a choreographer coming in, and that's how I broke it. And within that time, I'm like, what can I do so that you will let me rehearse the rest of the day? I'm like, I'm not thinking, okay, well, this could be bad or whatever. I'm just like, what do I need to do to please this random person that's coming in so that they still think I am working harder than everybody else? It's like, they're an adult and they think you're stupid.
Mm-hmm.
Like, a grown person is not going to go, this 16-year-old wants to dance on a broken foot. She's so tough.
Yeah.
Like, this girl is an idiot.
Yeah.
But like, you don't translate that. You just go like, what can I do that's more extreme than everybody else? Extreme doesn't mean like you're the most intelligent athlete, that you're the like, most strategic with your work. No. Like, I think there's a part of that where you just kind of turn your brain off and you just go, I'm just in go mode for the next decade of my life. So whatever happens, like, I'm in. But I think it's just, there's not a lot of that questioning myself. I didn't question a lot of the things that I was doing.
Yeah, and I think it's for how it'll be interesting to do something like this or think about these things, you know, which maybe we should talk about that too, of like get away from the high school us, because it's a little bit unfair in a way too. It's like, how do you expect a high schooler to know what they should be doing or not doing? And then also like looking into that and researching that, trying to figure that out. That's where it's so important to have good coaches and good teachers and stuff, because that guidance could lead you in the way. Like, I had somebody that I could have went to, and I should have, that would have guided me in the right way of what you should be doing and what you should stay away from, what's going to be most beneficial. But I think like even just like reversing 2 years ago, 3 years ago, there's still some of the same themes of like, so much of it happens where you just, I think the way that we consume a lot of our information is from podcasts, and you start to like a certain person and what they have to say, and there's truth in that. You maybe use some of the things that they say and it's really helping and working for you, but then you just start to buy into what every single thing they're saying is. So now their training methodology and what their opinions are on nutrition and what you should be doing with nutrition, and you start to just get so attached to that. And again, it just like, there's stuff that starts to happen, injuries or whatever, that it holds you back from what you're wanting to do. I think the more common thing for people is they listen to somebody say something and they only do the one thing. And that was a lot of what I was doing as well, was this person saying to work out this way, so I'm going to start working out that way. Not realizing that the nutrition has to be paired with that. Mm-hmm. And the sleep has to be paired with that. And like even just the rest of your day, and what, you know, is this a really high intensity 30-minute workout session? Well, you need to find ways then to like, you're spiking your nervous system like crazy doing stuff like that. Now we have to put in things to bring you back down to level. Because it's like what we were talking about the other day of, when you're exercising, you're getting into this parasympathetic state. But the problem that a lot of people are having is getting back into the sympathetic state, because
reverse. You're putting yourself in sympathetic, going into parasympathetic.
Yes. You're putting yourself into sympathetic, trying to get back to parasympathetic. And we're not really able to, because of all the stressors that we have. The social media, all the things that we know are bad and don't do. Like, you're kind of in this heightened state all the time, and you need to find ways to get out of that. Breathing exercises, yoga, like any forms of relaxation, and trying to bring yourself back to the parasympathetic. So now people that are trying to lose weight or people that are trying to put on muscle, I think about me trying to do anything progressive, like with the kettlebell stuff. I don't have a super clear intention of what I'm trying to do with it. It's more so just like maybe like hybrid-ish. Like, I want to be able to just lift good weight, be functional, not have injuries or not have pains, and like be able to go for a run and be able to just kind of be very average at everything. So the kettlebell workouts I'm doing, that we're both doing, is like 30, 45 minutes, and it's just go, 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 go. Okay, well, what are you doing on the opposite end then to bring you back down? Because we could get up to there and never relax our nervous system. Now we think that sleep is going to do it. Well, kind of, sort of, but it's like, if we're doing that, then going on social media or watching a bunch of podcasts and they're getting you ramped up and, you know, frustrated or like inspired or whatever, there's just no bringing you back down. And then you also have to go to the food aspect of it. What are you eating? Are you eating a bunch of processed foods that are spiking blood sugar all the time, and you have a increased blood pressure because of all the bad stuff that you're eating? Or are you like carnivore and only sitting in carnivore, and you're not getting a lot of the micronutrients from vegetables and fruits, and you know, you feel like you have low energy, you don't have enough energy, you're maybe getting sick a little bit more, your bowel movements are messed up. It's like, there's so many things that affect your health and your progress in whatever direction you're going, that you can't just listen to one person say, yeah, I don't really like carnivore anymore because there's not a lot of fiber in it, and go like, well, I guess I'm never doing carnivore, or I'm stopping doing carnivore now. It's like, but what is your intent? Like, you could maybe not be getting sick because it's not spiking all these autoimmune issues in you from fruits and vegetables or from plants and stuff, and that's actually really helping you and getting shoulder pain to go away, or it's actually making you sleep better because you're not having all these autoimmune issues and you can breathe, you know, efficiently through the night. But now you're just stopping that because one person said it, when it's actually working in favor with you. And it may be your workouts that need to adjust because you're too tired. Or the whole basis or summary of what I'm saying is like, don't just listen to one person say one thing and now take that and put it into your whole scope of health, because it's not going to be effective, most likely, unless it's like a shot in the dark and you end up hitting the target. It has to be a whole picture approach. It can't just be this one thing. And we give the advice of like, pick one thing and do that. But that's like the snowball effect, because the goal is for you to get to a point where you're doing all of the things. But we need to start with one. If you're just picking one and then forgetting about the rest, and then 6 months later you pick another thing and forget about the rest, it's not going to end up working out. And that's so much of what I try to do now, that I made all of the mistakes before. Was like, well, I'm trying to be successful in football, so I need to be stronger. Well, there's a few different types of strong. Like, are you strongman strong? Are you bodybuilding strong? Are you athletic strong? It's like, I was doing bodybuilding strong when I'm trying to be strong in an athletic endeavor. Those are two different things, and they don't work together. And then my eating, same thing. It's like, I just get this whim, out on a whim. I hear somebody say something. It's like, I'm going to try that and I want to do that. And you start doing it, and then you're like, this is not working at all. It's like, yeah, because you didn't adjust everything else. You chose to do carnivore, and it's not working because you're doing the same amount of output on less calories than you were before, and now you're dog tired and you're hungry all the time, and your metabolism is going crazy, and like, you can't handle it. It's like, and your sleep is all whacked up because you've been exercising like crazy and not able to eat enough to give you the proper nutrients to recover, and now you're trying to go to sleep and your body's still ramped. And it's like, yeah, you didn't change the whole picture. You chose one thing and tried to implement it, and it all falls apart.
Yeah, I think I would say the same thing. Like, what was happening at the gym stayed at the gym. What was happening with food kind of started to affect how I connected at the gym, but like very loosely. Like, and it was simply, are you in a bulk? Are you maintaining? Are you cutting?
Yeah.
Like, it was only 3 versions of that, and it didn't really matter specifics of what I was eating. It was just, am I eating a lot or am I eating a little? That's what I was focusing on. That it wasn't this health and fitness is a lifestyle. It is, what do you do from when you open your eyes to when you open your eyes the next day? It's like, it's about your food, and it's getting nitty gritty into the types of food and what you're needing at certain times. It's about what kind of exercise and activity or exercise, what you're doing with that. How are you training? What is the extra activity that you're getting? What's your sleep looking like? What is your activity during the day? What are you doing to better your brain health? What are you doing to better your social health? Like, you take the nervous system approach. It's like, so you go and you do this crazy workout, and then so say like you're just in this heightened, ramped fight or flight mode, and then you go and you're getting your car and you're driving, which is also a stressor, and then you go home and like you're going into maybe a stressful environment, or maybe you go home and then you get right on social media, and then you continue to be ramped, and then I worked out, so now I'm going to eat. Well, now you're putting things into your body when your body we're in fear, we're in stress. So it's like your chemical responses are going to be different because it doesn't know the difference of stress. It doesn't know, well, it's just because I watched 30 minutes of Instagram reels. Mm-hmm. It goes, we're in fight or flight.
Yeah,
and now I'm eating. So this food must be some sort of like crazy mechanism, like I'm trying to survive because I'm eating this. Like, so what does that do to your weight? What does that do to your whole, I guess, even your mindset on what have you just been doing for the last 2 hours? It's like, does that create different behaviors and create different habits? And then you just keep going on your day, and it's like you never regulated from each section of those things.
Right.
It's like,
well, and this is really where the recovery part is. I think people think of recovery as like, well, I sleep.
I stretched.
Or I stretched, like, and I think the biggest benefit of stretching after your workout isn't stretching out the muscles. It's getting back into a parasympathetic state. Mm-hmm. And then it's kind of that thing of like, if you're going to put that stressor on your body, you need to put the recovery on it, the same amount of recovery afterwards. And it's more so about the CNS than it is the stretching the muscles. It's more about getting you back to a parasympathetic state so that when you go into the next thing, when I get done with my workout and I stretch and I calm everything down, I bring the CNS back. Now I go drive. There might be a little bit of a spike, but you didn't just hold at this level. It's like there's maybe a little bit of a raise up, and then you go back home, you get home or whatever, and then hopefully you can do something there. Maybe you're focusing on breathing in the car, or you're just putting these little recovery pieces in everywhere. That's going to help you regulate the CNS better so that you're not getting anxiety and depression and ADHD and OCD, and you're starting to attach to all these things that are really, it's just you're in a sympathetic state all the time. You need to just focus more on relaxing and recovering. And it can be as simple as like, just stretch and breathe. Like, just do that. Do a box breathing. 5 seconds in, 5 seconds hold, 5 seconds out, 5 seconds hold. Just do that for 5 minutes or something. Do some stretching. You're bored, you're sitting on the couch, you're watching TV over and over again, and all of a sudden you start to feel like a little anxiety come up. It's because you're not fucking doing anything. It's like your body is like, I'm watching this thing, I'm watching this freaky weird show or this movie, and it's getting me like ramped. Yeah, that's your CNS going like, we got to do something.
Yeah.
Like, is there war happening and we got to move? So get up and move. Like, do some stretches or do some squats or whatever, and then try to bring yourself back down. Like, bring yourself out of that. If it's not the time to be in a sympathetic state, all ramped up in fight or flight, you have to do active things to bring yourself back down. And that's the stuff that I'm still making the mistake now, that I'm like, okay, I got to start implementing this more, because I haven't been stretching after workouts. And then we go to the next thing. Or
yeah, it's like, are we a little bit more ramped in the grocery store and a little bit more irritated and a little bit less patient with people because we're still in gym mode?
Yep. And like, yeah, does just like being in that state, just like bringing up weird thoughts and like, or frustration of like, oh, I still got to do that thing. And then you're beating yourself up over that. And it just becomes the little things. One of the things I think is probably really helping that I'd like to stay consistent with is our afternoon walk. We keep getting in the pool right away after. That's probably really helping bring everything back down. Mm-hmm. Just relax in the pool. That's probably super helpful.
Yeah. But I think the going back to that, like, it's just a whole body approach, whole life approach. I think the more that I'm also learning about how to utilize that with kids, I'm trying to implement that with teaching as well. Like, we're doing a yoga, like maybe an intense yoga Pilates style warm up with the kids, and then I end doing a breathing exercise. Because, like, if I just go, okay, now let's go into class, it's like, yeah, the behavior is going to be a little bit off. They're going to be a little bit more chatty. They're going to be doing cartwheels every 2 seconds because, like, I just put them into go mode, and then I'm going, stop doing that.
Yeah.
It's like, you have to kind of be that governor for yourself as well, of not saying like you just always have to be zen and always have to be relaxed and whatever, but health, wellness, fitness, nutrition, as much as we think they are separate things, like, they are all your body.
Yeah.
All of them are your brain and your body. So it's like, they have to work together in order for all of them to succeed. To where before, big mistake was I was just categorizing them all separately and then going, well, why am I not getting, a bigger butt? It's like, well, because you're eating 2 pieces of lettuce.
Yeah.
But then I'm also over here and I'm eating healthy. It's like, yeah, but those things don't correlate together at this time.
Or it's like, I'm doing the workouts that they say is supposed to achieve this goal. Okay, but you're not eating the right way. You're not
right.
Like, you're not getting the recovery aspect in there. You also might not be doing don't be so attached to what you're doing.
Yeah.
It's like, it might not be that. I have tried for 26 years of my life to get bigger legs. I just want big legs. That's all I've ever wanted. And it has never happened.
I mean, your legs are so big, but okay.
And I kept doing heavy squats, deadlifts, straight leg deadlifts. I mean, lunges, everything I could possibly do to get them bigger. I finally feel like they grew a little bit, and it was from doing freaking kettlebells with barely any weight. And it's like, why? Everything I ever see says it's supposed to be this, of lift heavy and squat deep and do all that stuff. Yeah, great. And you did that, and they grew from that. But now they know that stimulus.
Mm-hmm.
Now you have to give a different stimulus. And the different stimulus is kettlebells. So
and then they'll get used to that, and you'll go back to something else.
And then now it's time to do something else. Maybe I can go back to doing heavy barbell squats, and that'll do it as well. But it's just like, you have to try to be aware. It's like, what is, I'm trying to achieve this thing, and what's going on? What am I doing? What are all the things that I'm doing to achieve that? Is everything lined up for the same thing? Oh, I'm really trying to put on weight. Do you know what your calories are at? How many calories are you eating today?
I love having these conversations with you when it's about me, or when people come to you for advice, or I guess both of us for advice. And it's just so, like, it's easy to do that with someone else, and then you realize, like, how ridiculous you're also being,
because you're not emotionally attached to the situation.
Yeah, because you're just like seeing the logic. How many times people are like, yeah, I can't get bigger and I can't bulk up and whatever. And it's like, well, I'm going on a bulk. It's like, well, are you? Do you know what your calories was before? Also, do you know what you're putting into your body and the response that it has, and the trash food that you're eating? And are you even adjusting your workouts where that makes sense with a bulk? And it's like, you can see that from the outside point of view. But then I'm over here like, yeah, and I just can't get a bigger butt because I'm eating 2 pieces of lettuce, but I'm doing the exercises and I'm going crazy with it.
Yeah.
It's like,
you're emotionally attached.
You're emotionally attached. And I think a lot of people, including, again, this is an episode on our mistakes, but it's so, I think it's an easy trait to have. And I still could, like, okay, where am I doing this now? It's easy to focus on one thing at a time, but that's where I made a mistake a lot of it. It's like, I would get really into diet. I would get really into the nutrition. I'd get really into working out. I'd get really into, like, doing the recovery stuff. It's like, okay, but you put too much of your eggs in one basket, and now you're just lacking in the 15 other elements that you should be focusing on. It's like, put 2% in all of those.
Yeah, spread the eggs.
And kind of like just figure out your daily rhythm with things. It's like, yeah, I could get really into working out, and that's great. But because I'm putting so much time into that, now I'm not paying attention to my calories, and I'm not getting my protein levels up, and I'm not really caring about like, how am I feeling? So I'm like, but my workouts are crazy. It's like, cool. Now you're just going to hop to the next thing, and all the things that you've gained with those crazy workouts that you're doing are probably going to fall off because you're not going to be able to prioritize that and do something else. That, yeah, it is just like I go all in, or it's like, let's just tiny little move the pieces on all the things and kind of know what categories are you focusing on.
I think something that we talk about a lot too, of doing one thing at a time and slowly getting yourself introduced to things. To backtrack on that, not everybody's the same. It's like when we talked to your dad kind of about this, and he was like, the only way I feel like I was successful at stopping eating this way, eating bad, is cold turkey and going extreme. And it's like, there's probably a lot of people that they need to do it that way, and they have to do it that way. And I think for those people, what we're talking about now would probably be the best approach, is figure out the sleep and recovery portion, figure out the nutrition portion, figure out the exercise portion. Like, what are the things you're willing to do? How do we fuel the body to be able to do that successfully? And then how do we recover successfully so that you can continue to do this week after week after week after week?
Well, and that is another piece that I was not dialed in with earlier on, was I wasn't aware of how I work. It's like, I was aware that I kind of go pretty crazy with things, but I wasn't aware of how, like, what was my relationship to those things. Like, my relationship to health and fitness is very, very driven by looks. It's like, once we were in COVID and we were working out at home and there was no mirrors, I felt so good about myself, and I was probably the most out of shape that I had been, because I not out of shape, but like, I wasn't the most out of shape. I was doing the least intensity, but I was going on walks. I was getting outside and going on walks 2 times a day. We were focusing in on our eating because we had so much time to cook and like explore food. We were doing things that we were not used to doing because we didn't have weights at home. So we were doing like a lot of bands and different types of exercise. But I wasn't looking at myself working out all the time. And then as soon as we get back, I'm like, ugh, look at that, look at that, look at that. It's like, oh, I didn't realize how much of a connection I had to this of I'm not actually working out to feel good or what this makes me experience. It's just so that I look this way. So then when I'm going back into the gym, or we go to the Texas house and we don't have a mirror, I'm like, okay, let's dial it back again to, if it's not going to be about looks and it's going to be about feel, what new things are you noticing? I could maybe overpower me being tired, me waking up feeling kind of stiff, me being bloated and all that, when I can look at myself in the mirror and go, but you look like that. It's like, well, when you can't have that piece, now what are you hyper focused on? I don't feel good. I'm not sleeping well. I have no energy. I'm getting brain fog. I'm getting headaches, whatever it is. That's all that you can focus on. So it's like, now you're kind of, I'm taking that into, okay, now I'm going to go back to the gym where there's going to be mirrors and I'm going to be able to see myself. But I still have to remember that piece. And now that's where you just like start to branch out into, this is a kind of a whole lifestyle approach. I can look like that, but I could look even better if I also see it from the sleep and the recovery and what I'm doing for nutrition, and not just, I had to create a better relationship with all of it.
That was probably the only time I cared more about looks than the most I cared about looks was in high school. And this was totally me too, was I wanted to be bigger. I wanted to look more muscular, stronger looking, all that stuff. And you start to you get such a disconnection from, wow, I look huge today, but I feel like shit. It's like, I guess I just have to feel like shit to look this big. And it's like, but your eyes are so deceiving. And it's just perspective, because there's days where you're like, man, I feel tiny. And then somebody's like, you're looking huge. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? It's like, this is why you can't go off of that. And I love the idea of like a no mirror program type of thing, because I think there's a couple benefits to that. Of you're not emotionally attached to the image part of it, so you're going more off of how you feel, like you said, and then you start to realize how bad you feel. So then you start to fix those how bad you feel, rather than doing the things for looks. I mean, you're trying to lose weight and it's like, I feel like shit, but the weight's coming off, and it's like, okay, but is that necessarily the best way to go about it? Like, are you eating 400 calories to lose the weight and you feel like shit and you have no energy and it's all just a mess and you can't sleep because of how deprived you are? The image, how you're looking at yourself and how you feel, it messes you up if you enjoy the image part more, to where I enjoy feeling better more, that the mirror doesn't get to me. But I think getting rid of the mirror is great too, because even when you go to exercise, you're looking in the mirror so much of the time of doing all your exercises that you don't even realize that you're starting to not be connected to your muscles anymore. You're just doing the motion of what this should be, and you're trying to do, like, if somebody took a picture of me, this would look perfect, rather than I'm actually feeling the muscle work. So that was one of the biggest things when we were at the Texas place, was we didn't have mirrors. I was like, oh, this is super beneficial, because now I'm getting more connected to how I'm doing the movements, and you start to realize your imbalances. Like, it looks great in the mirror, but when I don't have a mirror and I'm doing this, I can feel that my left lat is not really feeling this row right now, and probably hasn't been for a long time, because I haven't even thought about, am I feeling the muscle work? So if you have to go to a gym and there are mirrors, like, just don't look at them. Face the other way when you're doing your exercises and go through feeling the motions. And then same with the image stuff. It's like, we get so caught up in that, and that is such a deterrent of progress down the road, or even right now. It's like, when you're waking up every day and you don't enjoy how you look, just stop looking. Like, just stop looking in the mirror. Like, you don't have to lie to yourself and go, no, I'm beautiful, or I'm this, or I'm that, when you don't believe it. It's like, just avoid it and don't look in the frickin' mirror, and don't just, like, stop caring about it. Stop worrying about it. It's about your health. It's health first. How do I become healthier? All of the research says protein, fruits, vegetables, less processed foods, and exercise. And the exercise is very, like, there's a lot of groups. But what the research says about exercise is, as long as you're getting activity, about 90 minutes a day or 90 minutes a week. So it's like, if you like weightlifting, do that. If you like running, do that. If you like the bike, do that. It's like, whatever you're going to do to get more activity and exercise, do that. Who cares about the looks? Like, well, don't worry about it if it's deterring you so much.
That's also the catch-22 about it, though, is it's hard. It's what going back to what I said. It's like, it's sometimes hard to disconnect enough to just, like, give it a try. But most of the time, whatever you're wanting to achieve, it's probably not the thing that you're currently doing. It's maybe something that you need to implement somewhere else, or you need to adjust what you're doing, or you just need to let go of the emotions that's so attached to that. Because, like, I think of me, like, I want to look a specific way. It's like, well, when we started doing the kettlebell stuff, and my version of that, girl brain, is like, don't eat a lot and you work out a lot. I mean, maybe not so much anymore, but, like, say old me, that's what it would have been. Like, a lot of output, not a lot of input. You don't want to eat a lot of calories. I didn't see it as fuel. It doesn't really matter about anything else that you're doing. like, because you can trick them into like, you look good. So like, who cares what kind of calories you're eating, or who cares how you're sleeping or how you feel or your mood? But it's like, okay, when we started doing the kettlebell, you're moving so much that I'm not looking in the mirror because it's just a frantic. You can't. Yeah. And honestly, you look so crazy sometimes doing it in the mirror. They're like, I'm not going to look at myself doing that because
you're doing
insane.
Kettlebell swings and snatches and rotations and
that I was lifting for the movement, and I wanted to figure out how to do it properly and be able to feel how to do it. So like, I think I am more connected to how to do these kettlebell movements and how to do them correctly more than any of the traditional style liftings, even though I've been doing the traditional stuff so much longer, because like, you have to get it right now. Otherwise you could get injured. So you just dial in and figure it out fast. I was eating probably the most calories that I was during that time when we first started doing it. We were going outside, we were exercising. I was just focusing on like, oh, this would be a good activity, not, well, I got to get outside or not get outside to do a certain thing or whatever. I wanted to sleep a little bit better because I was just tired at the end of the day because of the output, and my metabolism was ramping. So I was feeding it with things that I felt like were good, more protein, upping the protein. It's like, okay, I'm doing all these things to whole body health, whole life health. And then like one day we were just in the main part of the gym and I looked at myself in the mirror. I'm like, what? I look awesome. When did this happen? Like, I had never seen like striations in my legs like that. I had never bulked up, and like, I was so tight at the same time. And I was like, I feel like capable. Like, I look good, but I also feel really strong. And I feel like I'm like, can use my body for things, not just I look good, but you tell me to go run down a block,
your knees will fall apart, or
like something's gonna snap.
Yeah,
it's like I felt like my body was actually working with me. My skin was the best it ever looked. My nails were thick. My hair was growing super fast. Like, so even superficially, that was probably the best I had looked. Well, and I was going the opposite of what I had been doing.
Yeah, it's because of the emotional attachment.
Yeah.
If you just start to get rid of, if you start to detach from the image part of it and you go off of the health part of it, how weird the health part comes along with. Like, or the image part comes along with. Like, you end up looking better and feeling better about how you look because you literally are healthier. You're finally doing the things that are improving your health. You're going to look better. Mm-hmm. I love the no mirror stuff. I mean, I think it's so helpful because so many of the people that I train, that's what it is. It's about how they look. And it's like, it's a hard thing to get across and hard thing to accept that, like, I know you care about how you look, but we're going to do things that has no intention of getting you to look better. It's about to make you healthier. That's what the whole thing's about. And in turn, that will make you look better. Mm-hmm. You just have to focus on that thing. It's the health. And then it's like making sure that stuff lines up, you know?
Yeah.
If you're doing stuff for health, you're doing the no mirror program, and you're doing stuff for health, make sure it's lining up for health. And you're not doing this weird switcheroo thing. It's like, I'm feeling hungry, and so my body's kind of telling me, hey, I need nutrients for whatever reason. Okay, let's give it that. Instead of going, well, I'm still trying to lose weight, and I don't want to fuel my body. I don't want to give my body more stuff, whatever. It's like, no, it needs that to do what it needs to do to progress you into losing weight. If you're depriving yourself of nutrients, your body's more likely to hold on to fat so that you survive. It's trying to do that for as long as possible. So you need to, like, it's kind of like this is such a perfect thing, and I want to talk about it again on the dance one, but it's like when you're stretching, you're trying to tell your body to relax so that you can stretch deeper, I guess you could say.
Well, because when you stretch, you're putting your body in a vulnerable state. So you have to tell your body, you're safe right now. You're not needing to run away from a predator.
And that's where the breathing comes in, of trying to relax and getting yourself into a parasympathetic state. There was somebody that was talking about it, I think it was Peter or Tia, of like when people came into the hospital unconscious, you could fold them in any way you wanted. Like, it's not a muscular deficiency, I guess you could say, most of the time. I'm sure there's some people that are just super bound up, but that's rare. That's super rare, and I want to stress that's super rare. It's not you if you think it's you. Because there's the people that are like, I only need 5 hours of sleep. I'm just like one of those people. No, there's like 1% of those people in the world. It's not you. You need 8 hours, so stop. You would probably bend in half. And this is what he was talking about. It's like, you could move them and bend them in any way. It's never a muscular thing or a tendon thing. It's a central nervous system thing. Your central nervous system is not comfortable or does not feel safe allowing you to stretch that deeper, that far. And it's basically practicing telling your body it's okay to relax. It's okay to relax. You can relax deeper. You can go deeper. That
I wonder is why, like, dancers, gymnasts, like, why they can just jump into those flexibility positions. It's probably just because they have that comfortability and the awareness and the safety of, I can do this and it's not going to hurt me.
Yes.
So it's like, yeah, they're more flexible. They can jump into the splits because they've done that 50 times over.
And my analogy with this is trying to lose weight, trying to put on muscle. In a lot of ways, it's the same process of, you're trying to tell your body it's okay to lose the weight. I will feed you. You will get the nutrients. You can let go of this weight, while also putting a stimulus on of, we kind of need to lose this weight if we want to continue to do these runs, do these exercises. Same with building muscle. You need to be able to tell the body, hey, it's okay that you build muscle. We can put more weight on. We can handle it. You're going to have certain restrictions when it comes to building muscle, because your body's not going to want to put on more. Like, it's the same with the CNS thing. Like, it's going to be really hard to be 5'10", 250 pounds and it be all muscle. Like, right. Your body's just going to go like,
your skeletal structure is going to be like, yeah, come on.
We're not doing
For
this.
What?
This isn't optimal, safe. None of it's good. And that's where steroids come into play.
Because you go, fuck you, buddy. I'm going to do it anyway.
Yeah. Your body's going, we're not doing this. And steroids go, we are going to do this. But it's kind of having that, you're almost outside of your body and having a different, like, you and your body are two different people. It's like, you're needing to tell your body, hey, it's fine that we do this, and this is why we're doing this. You need to see it as a separate thing a little bit, so that you can understand what it's trying to do, or why it's not, like, why you're not losing weight. Okay, why am I not? It's not a emotional, I'm messing up, I'm screwed up thing. It's a, okay, body, what are we not having you do, or getting you the right nutrients, or too much of something, too little? Like, what do I need to do to get you to do this thing that I'm wanting you to do? Mm-hmm. And a lot of the times it's just that, like,
because your body
is stress.
Your body is typically doing the effective thing of what it's supposed to do. Like, it's on its own journey, and its own journey is to keep you healthy and alive, or more so, it's to keep you alive and functioning.
It's trying to stay alive and protect.
So it's like you're saying, you're not feeding it. Your body's response is, there's no food out there. So in order for you to stay alive, you need to have this cushion in you. So we're going to hold on to it for dear life. And that's where you get that stubborn weight that you can't lose, because you're not telling it, it's okay. Yeah. I'm going to keep feeding you. There's going to be more where this is coming from.
Yep.
Same thing if you're feeding it trash food and overproduced food, it's going to go, this isn't real. So maybe I should still be scared and think that there's nothing out there, because this isn't real food that I'm supposed to know.
And a lot of the times it's like, you're eating excess of what your body needs. So it's going, hey, we'll just store this for later. We're eating a ton of processed food, and you don't have places to put the glucose, it's going to store it.
Your body is that parent, grandparent, aunt that that hoards.
Yes.
Not hoards, but just like, maybe I'll use that one day. Maybe I'll need that filing cabinet. Maybe I'll need that weird drill that doesn't have any of the drill bits attached to it anymore. Like, we all have so many of these people in our lives, I'm sure. It's like, it just makes their house look cluttered. It doesn't look efficient. It's not efficient because half the time they probably can't find that thing. It's not useful. It's just taking up space. But that's your body. It's when, I guess I'll take it. Like, we don't need more of the sugar, but we have to store it because you're giving it to us. You're dropping it off at the house.
Yeah, we're not doing anything to utilize it. So it's just going to be storage.
Yep.
One of the last things I want to talk about is, I don't remember what podcast we were watching, but they were, it was Lifeline. So this guy called into the show saying that he doesn't like what eggs his wife takes out of the egg carton.
That's right.
There's a correct way to take the eggs out of the egg carton.
Was it eggs or was it donuts?
It was donuts. I thought eggs. You're right.
Okay, it's donuts.
But eggs in an egg carton.
Chocolate croissants.
There's a correct way to take eggs out of the egg carton in a specific order. And when we talked about it, you were wrong. And I want you to tell everybody your wrong way of taking eggs out.
My opinion. So, eggs versus this donut thing, I'd maybe have a different answer because it wasn't eggs that we were talking about. If it's donuts, say we get a thing of donuts and there are 3 in each row. There's 2 rows. I will only take from, like, say there's a top row and a bottom row, and my first donut I choose is the top row. I will continue only choosing from the top row. Because in my head, that's an easy way for both of us to organize who has had the certain amount. Say if we each get 3, that's my way of tracking. Did I have 1? Did I have 2? I know because I'm like, this is my row.
And does that change for eggs?
Eggs, I will do it. Well, I think there's a correct way to do it. And then I think there's a way that I do it. Okay. The correct way is, I think you just, hold on. Because
I'm going to tell you right now.
No.
There's not a donut way. There's not an egg way. There's a right way, and there's only one way.
Okay, I already disagree. The egg way, I think you have to choose. So say there's a top and a bottom row. Mm-hmm. I think you have to choose 1 from the upper right, 1 from the lower left, 1 from the right, 1 from the left, 1 from the right, 1 from the left, and kind of work your way in. Because then there's like a balance thing. So when you take it out of the fridge, because my first answer was going to be just keep taking it down the rows, but then you got to balance weird, and that would be the same way if like you finish the top row and you finish the bottom row and you do it in order like that. There's going to be a weird shifty thing as you take it out. How I actually do it is I just choose whichever egg I see first. I will go all over the box, all over the carton.
Hey, we know.
What's the correct way?
We all know you do that.
Well, no, they don't live with me. They don't know that.
The correct way is the balanced way, and it is always the correct way, whether it's donuts, eggs,
so
or
are you surprised that I thought that?
Yes and no, because I'm pretty sure I told you this.
Nope.
So nope. I think you're just stealing my thunder.
Nope.
But if you didn't, I suppose so. Because 2 rows of 3 donuts, we both know we get 3, right? So just count. You don't need to do a row by row. Just count how many you had. It's easy. 1, 2, 3. A 3-year-old can do that probably.
Yeah.
So just count to 3.
There's also, sometimes with the donuts, there's different kinds. And I don't want you to take double maple, double chocolate glaze, whatever. If you're going random, that means that you could just maybe choose whatever, and then you get double of something.
I mean, let's be honest. When it comes to donuts, nobody wants double chocolate glazed.
Well, okay, but would you choose 2 maple? Yeah.
Yeah, give me the 2 maples.
Exactly.
Or the 2 vanillas.
Exactly. And then who's out of a maple? Me, because you're doing this.
When it's different, if there's a bunch of different eggs, we got duck eggs, chicken eggs, fucking turkey eggs. Yeah, I can understand it. But you still form them to be weighted then. And even that, okay, you got a vanilla, a chocolate, a maple, a vanilla, chocolate, maple. I take a maple, you take a vanilla. You could still do the weight distribution.
But here's the problem with that. What if I don't want a vanilla first?
Then take the vanilla and put the other one in the right spot.
The box of donuts just shift around anyways.
Okay. No, I care. I don't want donuts falling all over the place. I don't want eggs falling all over the place. I don't want anything in cartons falling ever. That
Especially
is my number one goal in life. Is never let a carton fall.
Especially those donut ones, because those are just so flimsy. It's crazy.
It's only ever about weight distribution. It's the only right answer. When you grab that carton of egg, it should be it should be balanced in the center. I'm not grabbing the end of it and the whole thing fall this way, or I pick it up and I fucking fling it up this way.
Side to side. That's worse, I think. The donut thing, I have never thought about it like that. I only go by, like, I say, yeah, okay, you do it so that you kind of know what row it is. It's solely based off of which one do I want first, which one do I want second, which one do I want third. I am only going in order of which one do I want, and this is how I do it. I don't go, which one do I want the most? Let me have that first.
No.
I go, that's also... which one do I want which one do I want the most? That's going last.
100%.
You go from least favorite to favorite, so you end with a banger.
That's always correct as well.
So
you never go my most favorite first.
Here's where I have the problem with the moving it around, though. Say you have the vanilla glaze, the maple glaze, and the chocolate glaze. You know the frosting ones, the frosting's dripping out into the box. So now I'm going to move the vanilla frosting one over to where the chocolate one was. It's going to get in the chocolate frosting. That's a no. I'll have a tippy box for that.
No, that's ridiculous. That's absolutely ridiculous. You couldn't be more right with the least favorite to favorite. That's probably why we're together.
Do you do this as well, where it's items of things? I have to know when I'm getting close to the end. Like, when I think about the specific scenario, you know, maybe you don't, but like Munchkins at Dunkin', or if I got like little pretzel bites somewhere, I couldn't just like have it not by me and just take them until they're gone. I need to know when I'm 3 from being done. I'm 2 from being, so I can like change my mindset about, this is your second last one. This is your last one. This is your last bite.
It's not so much about that for me as much as it's I want to save my favorite for the last one.
But say it's the same thing. It's this, every piece is the same.
Oh, every piece is the same. I don't have that. No.
Okay.
No. I also eat in equal way. I don't eat all of one thing. I wouldn't choose all of the, powdered donuts out of it and then go to the cinnamon ones and then go to blueberry.
Oh, no, I don't either.
It's always
mixed matched.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do that too. But I'm saying, like, say it's pretzel.
Same with like a dinner, though.
The whole pretzel. Like, I mean, it's all just the same thing.
Yeah, no.
I have to know when it's close to the end.
Yeah. No, I don't do that.
Yeah, food, I don't do that either. My grandma eats like that. She eats all one thing, all the next thing. All one. I wonder if she still does that, but Or like she'll eat all the fries.
Yeah, no, it's like a circular.
Did you used to do that though? Because I feel like with that, you used to eat all the fries first.
No.
Reverse.
No.
You'd eat the thing first and then all the fries.
If it's a burger and fry thing, I'll have a couple fries within it, but I mostly eat the burger until it's gone and then go to the fries. I think
I'm not like that.
I don't like with the burger thing.
It's more of a function thing for you, isn't it?
And burrito thing. I don't like holding that, setting it down, setting it down. And I don't really like holding it in one hand because then it all starts to fall apart and then it's harder to eat. Yeah, it's a hard life.
Yeah, I knew that's why you would do it. Same thing with like driving. You almost have to do that. But
and I pretty much never drink anything when I eat. I eat my meal and then I will drink whatever. I don't take drinks in between.
That's why I have such gut issues, probably one of the reasons. But I remember getting Chinese. And when I would get Chinese when I was younger, I would get a can of soda with it. There is something, I would love to know what response it is in my system. Like, is it like kind of like what chemical good feeling am I getting? Because it is so crazy. The saltiness and the getting so thirsty with the Chinese food and then just chugging soda. Like that combination and like waiting until you're super thirsty and then chugging it. Oh my gosh. There is just something about that like satisfying. It's like chugging water when you're so crazy thirsty in the middle of the night.
I kind of get what you're talking about. I get that way with popcorn.
It's so good. It's so good. It's like putting yourself to the point of like craving it and then giving it to yourself. It's like, this is so salty and like I need to drink water so bad. I need to drink so bad. And then just downing the liquid.
I'm noticing a theme with you. I said this the other day. You will dangle the carrot in front of you
and then go
just for the excitement of being able to grab it. You're like, oh, I don't get it. It's mine. That is your whole life. What you just said, like putting myself in this position just so I get the excitement to chug soda. Mm-hmm. It's like you're just dangling a carrot. Just go. Hey. Oh my God. That is hilarious.
I make the rewards I make it everything a reward, kind of. It's like if you get through 2 more bites of food and then you get to drink water and then you can chug it. Versus like, just take a tiny sip and just take a couple bites and like have it be so whatever.
You know how we're always like, oh, I wish I knew what kids were thinking. It's that. Oh, just 2 more bites and then you get to chug water.
Yeah.
It's those things. All right, we done?
Yeah.
Next week's episode, the dance world.
The dance world.
All about the dance world. The pros, the cons, the bad habits, the good habits.
And I would say most of you guys listening, probably not in that world, but maybe you are. Even if you're not, we're going to also bring it up in the sense of like how to train for performance as well, because I think that's a huge part of what we're missing in that world is how to train effectively for our brain and for our body. So I think it's just also going to be a really good health episode as well.
Yeah.
But
all right.
Bye.
See you next week.